Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I'm giving everybody some time to get over to the stream, the live stream that is. I'll show some love to my guy on the screen. I appreciate everybody tuning into the stream. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate all the love. Shout out to Amber. Hey, just so forewarning, y'all might have my kids running around in the background, but it's all love. They and my daughter actually want to come down and get on the camera, so I'm gonna let her come down and show her face. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Extremely humble, extremely grateful. Um, I don't know. I feel like the things that I'm saying, everyone feels the same way, but no one is willing to say them out loud. So, if I got to be the one to fall on the sword, I'm comfortable to do it. I was raised to be a man, and they say strong men stand up for themselves, stronger men stand up for others. So, I'm just trying to be the man that everybody needs in their life. I appreciate you guys as well. Yeah, man, family is important. Like I went to play basketball this morning, and it was probably 30 white guys. We was talking about how the top 5 songs are all "Let's Go Brandon." It's just the world has never been as divided as it seems. And so, like growing up in the hood, it's dope to be able to reach out to people on the internet who have no idea what my life is like and my environment was like, and to see how much we get along and we can sit down and watch a South Park episode together and laugh. I personally think Eric Cartman is like one of the funniest people known to man outside of Dwight Schrute. I think everybody's a Dwight fan. Yeah, definitely need more people to speak out. And this is something it's been on my mind, like I said, for a year or two. Just sit back watching the news and working at a private school, seeing how white kids are growing up like not liking their dads or not liking their grandfathers. It was really weird. Or to have white kids like be confused about their skin color. I coached the eighth grade basketball team, all white kids. We lost in the semifinals, but the bond with those little boys was something special. None of them cared that I was black. They just thought it was cool that I played basketball. Shout out Wayne from Alabama. Yeah, this is dope to be going global. I'm just a kid from Kansas City, Missouri, man. My mama, I was a project baby, and then we moved to the homeless shelter, and then got out the homeless shelter, went to Section 8, and then my mama got evicted from her Section 8, and I just been thugging it out ever since. And where there's a will, there's a way, and God has a plan for everybody. And I always knew that my story was going to inspire somebody. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Like I said, this is humbling. Sunday I was at probably 220 subscribers. Shout out Mississippi, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, making videos, just trying. Just if you believe in yourself, if you keep going, I knew what I was saying was right, and I knew somebody would hear it, and it would spark, and it would start spreading like wildfire. Um, I actually had and I guess I could share this with you guys because I don't know if it happened because of my video or what, but a TV network reached out to me today in California. They're filming a show called Conservative Parents versus Liberal Teenagers, and I'm going to be going to Cali on November 7th. And I promised to shout out the gang, and I can't believe they about to put me on TV and let me say what I got to say. So when I say it's about to get real, it's about to get real. Because I'm not scared to say anything on TV, and once they turn that camera on, I can go. Shout out Buffalo in the building. Yeah, man. I would love to get a hold of Tom. I really think we could do some damage. Personally, I always say, but I don't think the world is ready for an individual like me because most of the people that you see on TV are pretending or they're acting. There's not a thing about me that I'm pretending about. When I was a kid, before my mama got her Section 8, we lived with my mama's best friend. It was a white lady named Terry. I didn't even know she was white at the time. I was in kindergarten. I just called her my Aunt Terry. It didn't register to me that she was white till I was like 16 and started thinking back, like, damn, That couldn't have been my auntie. She was white. I've never had a racial issue in my life. I don't know many people that have, you know? Honestly, growing up in an urban environment, you're not around white people. And if it is, there's white. If it is some white people in the inner city, it's some white women, and they got biracial kids. But you really don't meet any type of conservative people. Oh yeah, man, I would love to hop on a stream with Brandon Tatum. I don't know, being a father is important. I became a father at 20 years old, and I always say if I'm not a father, I'm not the man I am sitting in front of you guys today. My daughter was my life. She still is my life. She's the reason that I'm pushing to be this multimillionaire. She's the reason that I'm showing that you can do anything, you can accomplish anything. Oh yeah, man, I'm working on the sound. Like I said, this is everything is happening so fast, and my brain is like, I gotta figure out how to fix it and what I'm doing wrong and all that stuff. So I really appreciate everybody watching. Like I said, I'm humble. I don't care about no negative feedback. The more y'all help me, the more I can grow. I always say Kobe Bryant still needed a coach. Michael Jordan needed a coach. So my fans give me feedback, and I can adjust what I'm doing, and we can keep rocking from there. ABL is pretty dope too. I've checked out a few of his videos as well. So yeah, man, there are a couple people I would like to talk to just because I don't think that any two people should have the same experience. And there's a lot of people that will hear Brandon Tatum talk that will really love his message that would never want to hear me. And there's a lot of people that would love to hear my message and would never want to hear, Brandon Tatum. So yeah, man, it all works together and everybody can profit and benefit. Oh, I can give ABL a call. Okay. Yeah, well, I'll figure out how that works, man. Yeah, like I said, I'm dummy new to this game, so whatever information y'all can share and let me know, because all I've been doing is sitting in the dungeon reading. Like I said, I haven't watched TV in 5 years. I haven't had fried food in 6 years since my I haven't had fried food probably since my mom passed away. So no soda, no TV. I disconnected from rap music for like 3 to 4 years, honestly. Because if my mom doesn't pass away, I don't grow into the person I am. Because I didn't take life serious. I think as kids, none of us take life serious. I was a reckless ass kid that was sleeping with girls and was playing basketball. Um, but when you get a call that your mom is dead, life kind of has to change. Because I didn't really mature after my first son passed away. I was 18, so it hurt it, but it hurt like anything else. I didn't have no real attachment. I didn't understand that it was a spirit and a soul and all those things. And then when my second son passed, man, that hurt it. But that's when I kinda buried myself. I started drinking after that. Um, I went back to work 3 days after he passed away. I didn't take any time to grieve, or I just put my head down and kept working, and I guess I get off work every day, and I go to a gas store, and I get a bottle of Seagram's gin and, some Sunny Delight, and I sit on my couch, and I would play 2K, and that's was my life. And then as I got a little older, about a year after that, I stopped drinking so much. I started trying to go to the gym, but was teetering with the healthy lifestyle. And when my mom passed away, I can't say it was off guard, but it kind of like it shocked me. And when you see the death certificate and it has these two big ass words, and you like, what is R triple line and whatever, and you just start googling stuff, and then you find out it's from a pill that the doctor gave her, and then you realize that the doctor gave her that prescription 7 days before she passed away, and it made me get on this health kick to pay attention to a lot of our families. They eat terrible food, and we bury people because they have some type of condition, whether it's thyroid and all that. And then we go to the reception and we eat the same food that just killed the person. Like we have this perpetual cycle of just not taking care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and we look outwardly for somebody to make us feel better. And I'm sure everybody, we all raised with God and religion, but I always questioned the idea that I had no control over my life. Like I used to sit down and think, like, hold on, man, I'm intuitive, and everybody knows like when you plan something, you kind of can stick to the plan and see how it plays out, and your life only makes sense backwards. And another book while we on a live stream I could talk about is Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret in the World. And he just talks about you become what you think about. And so as a mature person, I could sit back and think of what I was thinking about when I was going through those times in my life. Like no one else knew that I wanted to work at AT&T really bad. Only I knew that. But I got hired at AT&T. No one else knew that I wanted a red and yellow Monte Carlo with 22-inch rims really bad. But I did, and I really got it. So when I started paying attention to the things I was manifesting into my life, the positive aspects, I also had to sit down and be honest with myself and look at the negative things that were in my life and ask myself, how did I manifest those into my life as well? And when I started looking at, well, how I was running around with so many different girls and was lying and was cheating and was creeping, that I was manifesting a lot of negative things on myself. And mind you, at this time, I had a daughter already. So she's 2, 3 years old. So she's not old enough to really know what her father is doing. But I knew I wanted to be a great example for her because, I mean, as a woman, who else? You look to your father as an example you want for a man. So I wanted to be this great individual for my daughter. And one thing led to another. Um, she got to kindergarten, and this is gonna sound wild because, like I said, we live. So, and everything I'm saying is honest. I keep it G. I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA, not because I wasn't smart, but because we didn't have no lights in the house. I mean, like, what was I supposed to do? My parents had really bad domestic violence, and I struggled with terrible anxiety. So I'd be sitting in class, and while the teacher was talking, I'm just thinking, Mama dead, mama dead, mama dead." So I would get up and I would sprint home, and I got tears running down my face, thinking I'm gonna walk in this house and find my mom on the floor dead. And I walk in the house, and she's just sitting on the couch watching Jerry Springer. But that anxiety of my mom and dad fighting all the time, it weighed on me as a young kid. And so I never was able to focus consciously on myself or my school or my focus. Basketball was my escape. Some young kids start drinking, some young kids start smoking. I didn't smoke weed for the first time until I was 25 years old. I didn't drink for the first time until I was 22. Basketball was my escape. Well, basketball and girls, I should say anyway. And those were, I won't say those were negative because I mean, I guess dealing with girls is a lot easier than getting into drugs or alcohol. But no one tells you the negative aspects of dealing with a lot of girls. Like the girls really get emotional and they key your car and they show up at your house and they show up at your job and they call your mama. And I lived that lifestyle. It was extremely stressful. I remember I went on a date with like a 45-year-old lady when I was 19 years old just because it was free. I used to just try stuff just because it was available to me. But now I get the law of attraction, and you read what you sow. And as much as you can have fun in life, you can't use people in no way, shape, or form because we're all connected in this thing some kind of way. I don't know how. I would be lying if I said I could explain it. But everything I do affects everyone around me. And so I had to clean up my lifestyle. I had to clean up my energy. And a lot of people, they still throwing that negative energy out. And if that's what you want, then you okay with that. But you reap what you sow. The Pop Smokes of the world, the Nipsey Hustles, the XX Extensions, while they were all intellectual people, they all came from a background that didn't affect where they were trying to go. So yeah, you can move forward, but you can't escape that karma. So my karma was never a street karma, but my karma was dealing with women. I had a lot of friends that had a lot of street karma, and they had to reap what they sow as well. I got, like, not exaggerating, maybe 50 friends in jail right now for homicide, and probably another 50 that have been murdered. And none of them were really bad people, if that makes sense. They just were trying to play the tough guy, or trying to act out what they saw on TV. They were all great guys. I mean, my friend Gary, who got murdered, dude averaged like a 3.8 GPA. Like, was extremely quiet in class, but he sold drugs on the low because that was what we was taught to do growing up. And so it isn't that you necessarily gotta act like a bad person because you on the inside of your head, you know what you're thinking. You know what you're attracting to your life. You know what type of energy you're trying to put out. And if you don't have no problem with receiving negative energy, then all means to you. But I think we all are sitting down in life like, man, life don't have to be this roller coaster. They always say the life has to be this up and down battle, but that's false. Life can be even kill if you want to be honest with yourself. Everything is about accountability. Nothing can get better until you get better. And we all, every situation you've been in, that I've been in, positive or negative, you had a role in it. And when you can look at everything like that, you can evolve and you can keep growing because life is solely about evolving. I don't know anybody who wants to have the same mindset at the age of 20 that they want to have at 50. And that's why culture is so weird and how much like Black Lives Matter has a hold on people because there's like no way that life has stopped for 90% of the population to believe that America is racist in 2021. Like we really had 8 years of a black president and it's been more racist since. And when I was like, I can be honest, I was 18 when Obama ran for president the first time. When Obama was running for the first time, I didn't know a damn thing about him outside of he was black. I woke up 6:30 in the morning, went to the library. They was outside selling T-shirts, incense, water bottles, candles. I mean, you name it, everything had Obama's face on it. So it was like co-opted that you voted for him. And I was really involved. Like I was taking old people to go vote. I was helping register. In my brain, I personally thought like something was gonna get better in the neighborhood. Like in the hood, I was living off 27th to Prospect. So it's that night. Obama wins. I get in my car, ride around, people shooting guns in the air. It's going crazy. And nothing really changed. I do remember getting a stimulus check when Obama was president of like $300. And because I was 18, I was like, oh shit, they just give out money. And we never got another one. I remember kind of looking for another, like, "Hey, when they gonna send us a check again?" But I, young and ignorant, not understanding how policies work. And so 2012 came, and I was a little older, and that's when it seemed like race being an issue. And that's the first time that I heard about, I think, the birther thing, and I thought it was funny. And I had paid attention to how people were like really upset, like really, really mad about Donald Trump saying that. But I remember when Obama was on stage, he had took a shot at Trump. So in my mind, it was like, you throw a joke at me, I'm throwing one back at you. That's just kind of how men roll. Like I don't think race has anything to do with that. But to see how the world kind of coddled around Obama, one thing that I know is no man is perfect. Like not no one is perfect. So you always have to be questionable about a man who just seems too great. Like Obama doesn't look at other women. He doesn't have a bad story about his past. He doesn't have a baby mama. He hasn't paid for an abortion on the low. He can't be a regular guy. And all I'm saying is, as men, we all have done something really stupid in our past. Whether it's a bad tweet or said something out loud, that's just naturally how you grow and you learn. You got to do something bad before you can ever do something good. So the fact that everything was perfect about Obama, I started looking at him different. And when he painted the White House in a flag of LGBT, and I'm not against anybody having their own preference. You do you. I don't really give two damns. But how he really spoke adamantly in 2004 at the DNC for John Kerry when he said it's not white America or black America, it's the United States of America. Like Obama really gave that image that I'm really for the people. Like I said, '04 is really, really when he stepped into the light and he sounded good. And now if you hear him talk, he's a totally different person. But fast forward, I just started researching him a little bit. Then I seen who his mentor was. And his mentor, I can't remember his name. You can look it up though. But he was from Kansas, but he was the leader of the Hawaii Communist Party. And when I seen that, I didn't even really know what communism was because I didn't pay attention much in school. So then I started studying communism. And I was just appalled that this black president, his mentor was a communist and he was the leader of America. And he was a Democrat. So that had me look into the Democratic Party because we all have heard the rumor, the party switched in '64, blah blah blah. So I just start reading, and then you can look up black demographics that Black America started voting Democrat in 1932. It's like, hold on, 32? I thought they said '64. And then you see that the New Deal was around that time, and Black Americans thought they were going to get a percentage of the New Deal. And then you fast forward and you find speeches of Martin Luther King complaining that Black America didn't get anything from the New Deal. and you see the game that's always we're always gonna promise you something to get your vote and never deliver on our promise. And the minute you start questioning us about your promise, we're gonna just throw racism in your face. Like how right now, how Joe Biden is giving all this money to illegal immigrants. It doesn't matter because as angry as Black Americans want to pretend they are, and Black Americans' approval rate of Joe Biden is dropping, and blah blah blah. March of 2023, Black Lives Matter is making a return. A cop is going to shoot a Black individual. There's going to be a white lady who does something to a Black person that causes a scene, and you will be completely distracted by how much money Joe Biden has gave the illegal immigrants, and it'll be vote for 4 more years of Joe Biden, or be afraid of whoever this Republican candidate is because they're racist and they're going to put you back in chains, and it'll work. And they'll put LeBron James on TV, and LeBron will say it's hard to be Black in America, and they may put Black Lives Matter on the NBA court again. They may have the NFL doing the Black national anthem again. And they gonna have, I don't know, they may have a banner that flies over, America, that says, "We're sorry, Black people," or something stupid like that. I don't know. Just something to manipulate people to get their vote 4 years. Wash, rinse, repeat. And I know I can't be the only person to see through this smoke screen. Like I know literally I'm not the only Black person who could sit down and say, hold on. Every 4 years it's racism. Meanwhile, the homicide rate is ridiculous. I know one friend personally who was shot by a cop. One. And the situation he was in is kind of tricky to say, do you blame the cop because he was doing his job? It was nighttime. It gets real tricky because I personally always say this. Yes, Democrats were against ending slavery. They've always been manipulating and using Black people for a political tool. But everyone complains about cops and interactions, and cops shouldn't shoot them, or you shooting the leg. If a dog comes right now, you run. You don't stop and think. You don't say what kind of dog. You don't say, is it a German Shepherd or a pit bull? You just run. That's how much time cops have to do anything. This idea that I got time to hold a gun, be in a conflict situation, and to make a logical decision. Man, it's fight or flight. We all know how the brain works. Well, I can't say we all because school doesn't teach us anything outside of our gender and who's oppressed and who's not. Like when I was in school, I remember learning like who, what, when, why, where, why, when, and how, like things like that. And that was the little bit I paid attention to in school. But you never heard about how minorities have always been punished. Like I even think the whole concept of saying Black and brown sounds stupid to me. Like there is no Black and brown coalition. There has never been this this idea. There's never been anything. Like you keep trying to lump people in groups. Black and brown. And it's like what evolves next? Is it Black, brown, and LGBT? Black, brown, LGBT, and nah, the feminist movement ain't gonna ever link up with anybody. They like anti all other groups. But when the feminist movement and the LGBT movement start beefing with each other, that's when it's gonna be fun to watch. Because the left keeps eating itself. This monster can't really last. It doesn't know what it's doing. And to say that I don't know to say that Joe Biden got 81 million votes, like all of it is rigged, but it's so mute on what you can say and what you can't say. Totally. And the Republican Party did end slavery. The thing about the Republican Party where it's tricky, like I said, both parties are weird, is the Compromise of 1877, where the Republicans like, all right, we'll take all the troops out the South, and the Democrats agreed to give the presidency to the Republican. And so that it seemed like a good idea because the Republicans got the presidency, but the Democrats always thought long term. Like it makes me look at how life is today. Republicans have always done what was right and what was honorable, and Democrats has always done what would make them win. And so if the Compromise of 1877 doesn't happen, I think America is totally different today. Because the Klan wasn't lynching people during that time. I mean, you had troops there protecting it. And the flip side of that is you fast forward to Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffin. and how that movie portrayed black people, like what would they be if they got in the government and putting their feet on steps and all that. But he was born 10 years after the Civil War. His entire depiction of that movie was from just the things that his father told him. And that movie became extremely popular, and that gave the rebirth of the Klan. And then you look at how the Democrats, no black people could attend the Democrat National Convention before 1924. There was over, I think, 200 Klansmen that were delegates in the Democrat National Convention of 1924. You can look that up. And I think that's when the socialism started. The New Deal, if you ask me, was a socialist movement, and we've been slowly moving to becoming a socialist country. And the only thing that they were able to do, I think it was World War II, they realized they had to remove masculinity from America. You couldn't have strong men that want to stand up for their families. I seen a video of the other day in New York that a lady had told a man just to take a chill pill, and he punched her in the face. Back in the day, another man would have stood up and protected her. But in 2020, if a man stands up, he's toxic masculinity. China is making their men more masculine. They banning feminine men from TV. In America, we making every little boy question his sexuality. If you wanted to go to war, you would, if you believe in biblical terms, the man is the head. You kill the head, the body will follow. And we getting out strategized somewhere. And we need a lot more men to stand up and be willing to take whatever comes their way. Because I don't believe in cancel culture. Nothing I'm saying, if anybody don't like it, I'm totally okay with having a 100% conversation with anyone. Because it's facts over feelings. So if you disagree with anything I say or how I feel, that's good with me. Let's talk about it. Let's sit down and let's figure out why we feel that way. My daughter here, she wanna say hello. This is my soccer baby. She's gonna be a future Team USA women's soccer player. And so the fact that cancel culture has made so many people feel like they can't say what they want or do what they want. I'm excited to leave the way to tell a lot of men. I mean, that's fake. I haven't lost any friends. And if you want to be honest, women would prefer a strong man. I don't know many women that wants a man that's feminine, that's soft. If somebody kick in the door at 3 a.m., I don't think you're gonna want your woman to go handle that. You stay there, I got this. You grab the strap and you go do what you gotta do. Yes, that's my daughter. She's 12 years old. That's my baby that I had when I was 20, when I was young and reckless and driving 110 miles an hour everywhere. And that's why I say people can change, because I grew up in a homeless shelter. I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA, and I've only had my daughter in private school. She's only lived the highest quality of life. I always say my kids live a life out of a Disney TV show. And I feel like every man wants their kids to live a life better than them. I don't know many people who want the children to struggle. All the guys that I know that are in jail, they wish that they can get out and have something to do with their daughter or their sons. Yeah, and I totally get that of being afraid to. But I feel two different ways, because it isn't for everybody to step out and lose their job. I was working in my daughter's private school when this was on my mind. Actually, if you go look at my channel, I recorded my first video, my walk away video, sitting in my office at work last year in October. She plays midfield. So she was a keeper. And so I quit my job December 15th last year, and I stepped out and I was like, I gotta use my voice. So I'm super new to this. Times have been a little rough financially, just figuring out how we gonna get through, but we making it, we living. It's keep getting better. Like I said, we advancing. And the feedback, the love I'm getting from everybody lets me know that I'm following the right path, and God led me on the right direction. So I always believe you gotta take one step back to take 10 steps forward. So I let my daughter know that this is a family affair. We all moving, we all grooving, and daddy's about to. I'm not changing the world for myself. I'm changing the world for everybody, because it's not my world. It's all of us. We all deserve what's naturally ours, and we all come from the soil. We all will leave one day, and we all want to leave something behind. And what's a better thing to leave behind than motivation and positive energy. You know, the coolest thing about life is that art never dies. Like, yes, Kobe Bryant isn't here anymore, but I can still go watch the game and him dropping 81 points. And so everything that I say that's on the internet, it's documented that children that aren't even born yet, that they'll be able to hear my message. That when they get in here with the massive propaganda, if you can't be this, you can't be that they can find a random video from me and say, hold on, what? I got the power to be special. I can do anything. That's my mindset. Is that I don't really care for what I do. This ain't so much about me, but it's about more people need hope. More people need inspiration. I know how much I raise my kids to be super confident. I always say my daughter got more confidence than the average grown man. I wasn't with Walk Away, but I had learned about it, and like I said, man, I was just there aren't many black people who spoke up, so I was just using my voice to say, "Hey, man, walk away from the Democratic Party." Being a father is everything to me. Like I couldn't imagine my life without being a father because I became a father at so young. So if I'm a young kid and I could just live life and do what I want, I don't think I grow. I don't have a purpose, and as a man, we all need some type of purpose. And the older my daughter gets, it makes me look at the rest of the world. More people need hope. More people need to be loved. Like I, I tuck her in bed every night and kiss her forehead. Imagine if every young girl got that same love from their father. We got a lot less Cardi B's. We have a lot less single mothers. Life is a lot different if young women feel loved by their father. But the fact that they growing up in environments, and if we've been honest, most black mamas mean as hell. So if you in that environment and you just with your mama, you looking for somebody to save you. And so most women, the only in time they know a relationship with a man if it's in sexual encounter. Within the first 2 or 3 men play you, well now you guard it. Well now you're protecting yourself. Well now you don't trust people. Or now you think people only want you for your body and not for who you are as a person. See, dads can control all of that. When I was 14 years old, my mom had came outside and seen a girl sitting on my lap. For like 6 months straight, every time I said I was going to the basketball court, she sent my dad down there to check every hour. And it got to a point to where my dad didn't even have to come to the court. I was still looking up the hill every hour to see if I saw his face. And so that's what's missing. A lot of kids don't have fathers. I always say, man, money has nothing to do with the quality of person that you become. I spent time in a homeless shelter. There was times when we couldn't eat. We would have church's chicken for dinner and put that chicken in a cooler and have the same chicken for breakfast. We used to take the extension cord and run into the house next door so we can have power. None of that had to do with character though. So this idea that black people act the way they do, they commit these crimes and they so violent because of poverty. Poverty has nothing to do with your character or the way you carry yourself or the way you conduct yourself. It is 100% a choice. And if you were raised with morals and you were raised with principles, then you'll have them. But if you were raised by culture and you were raised by the TV shows who told you just to act anyway and to walk around half naked and have your pants sagging and that's what you'll do. It's all really easy to understand when you see, like, I tell my children every day they leave the house, you're a reflection of me. Everything you do outside this house, it says if you got a good father or a bad father. Most kids don't hear that from their parents. But imagine how your children will look at you if they had a father. Most of these kids, the government is their daddy. They've never only time they've seen a man is when a man come in the house, go to mama bedroom, do their thing, and leave. How is a kid supposed to respect the environment they growing in when the basketball coach is praying on mama? The pastor is praying on mama. The football coach, everybody is praying on the single mamas. And we know that's how it is in the inner cities. I can't say other environments, but I'm sure it's all the same in low income communities. And that's how it goes. So until we can get the men to stop preying on the low income single mothers, until we can get the women to make better choices of who they procreate with, because it all comes down to the government is trying to attack our kids. Whether we like it or not, it's not mom and dads that need to be fighting with each other. The child support battles, the custody battles, we all got to protect our babies from the government. Because we at war right now, 100%. And whether we know it or not, or whether we can see it, what we do in the next 5 to 10 years is going to shape out everything of how these children turn out. Because how many young white kids I see with Black Lives Matter shirts. I don't like that. I don't like how many parents are so basing everything off of race. Like that was the whole point, was to get away from race. Content of character, not color of skin. And everyone is moving backwards. And no one is paying attention or saying, "Hey, hey, wait a minute. Like let's fact check this. Let's do something different." I've always said the worst thing about the civil rights movement was that it was never fact checked. After 60 years, there was never a checks and balances. Let's do this, let's do that. This part worked, that part didn't work. Let's take this out. It was No one has ever questioned anything. And because we don't go back and question society or question history and learn from it, it keeps repeating itself. Like literally history has been repeated over and over and over. I totally agree, man. The liberal is extremely dangerous because they in your face and they make everything so perfect. I mean, they make the utopia for these women around here seem great. Like, yeah, I know you have 6 kids by 6 different men. It just happened. Let's give you free daycare, free housing, and free schooling. It's not possible. I seen a commercial today of Walmart when they were saying Walmart pays for college tuition to now. And it's like, man, we really are creating people who just have no brain. You go to Walmart, you get your college degree because Walmart paid for it. College is gonna indoctrinate you, and then you're gonna go to a job, and that job you can't say anything out loud because there's a person in HR that's gonna control you, buddy. And you got, you know what I mean. So you gotta zip it. I don't say that they think the integration shouldn't have happened because I seen someone that said on the comments that the civil rights bill was needed because of what was going on in the South. My grandpa grew up in the South. And one thing my grandpa said to me was, "Little Johnny, I didn't need Martin Luther King to go to the government and get nothing for me." He said, "I was a man, I could stand on my own 2 feet." That came out of my grandfather's mouth. So while I do agree that there was the individual, the Emmett Tills, the church bombings, the Rosewood, that's life. Has there ever been a time in history where you can look back and say, "Man, in the Roman Empire, they went 100 years and nothing bad ever happened"? You can't. History is history, and you and I don't get here without the things that happen, good or bad. You can't complain about it. You can't change it. You just got to look back, learn from it, and move forward. And you have to question anyone who wants to keep you constantly looking in the back. And for Black Americans, our mindset has just been going backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards. But it's cherry picked. There were over 300 slave revolts. Why don't you hear about those? You couldn't control this thing that was happening. People kept revolting back. They kept fighting. There were so many black inventors. There were black millionaires, like I said. There were free black people. W.E.B. Du Bois was a free black man born in the North, graduated from Harvard, established to the NAACP. Jack Johnson was a heavyweight champion, 1907 to 1915, black man, solely fighting white guys in all white establishments. The world hasn't been just this overly racist. White people are just running around slaughtering black people that they try to put out to the masses of the world. And I just want to say that out loud. Like, I understand only 3% of white people own slaves. I'd be ignorant to look around at every white person and say, "Your family used to own slaves, didn't they?" Like, I don't know. And it just, like I said, the brainwashing and the propaganda that's been played on, and not just black people, because it's easy to say that black people are brainwashed, but I personally think white America is getting brainwashed because you have so many white people really thinking that they're bad people, that they just ran through and killed the natives and or slaughtered black people, and Christopher Columbus was evil. It's just white people have been brainwashed just as much as black people have been brainwashed. A lot of white people don't honor their grandfathers and their grandmothers who were in the war, who looked out for them, who set the foundation. Our society has been, I have not heard of them. I will check them out though. Like, look at our society and how it's falling apart. Everyone can, at least in my family, you can look back and you see pictures of grandma and grandpa together. It wasn't a bunch of single aunties and single mamas. That had never happened. There's always been family in the black community. until you added the government programs. Look up. I will check that out. I also seen it was like a rat experiment done in the 1960s, and it said if you like compose keep rats around and give them a abundance of food, a lot of the real mats, the male rats will become homosexuals. The women will become more masculine and start killing their offspring, and it kind of ties today. Another thing that kind of makes me look at society is the movie. I think it's like the Stanford experiment, Stanford prison experiment. When they made some people the guards and other people the prisoners, and at the time how they start getting really bad to them, and they ended it early because they start tripping. I think that's what they're doing with this vaccine mandate. They trying to get rid of the people who won't fall in line with government, and we'll see who all the yes men are. Because I don't like. Let's say you go back into you say what everybody who was in charge when Hitler was around was bad. I don't think 90% of those people were bad people. Maybe, but a lot of them were just following the policies and the rules that were put in place. We have to understand that slavery was legal, the Holocaust is legal, and everything else that you've complained about or disliked, it probably was legal at a point, and it probably was legal because the people voted for it. Like you always hear the complaint about the crack cocaine and how crack got harsher jail time than cocaine. But what they don't tell you is that the NAACP voted for that because it was destroying the black families and the black communities, right? The drugs was going through the communities, and the NAACP wanted to make sure that they got the drug dealers out of the communities, so they gave them a harsher jail sentence. You fast forward and they complain about it. The '94 crime bill, you heard it complain, it destroyed families over and over and over. And the '94 crime bill and Crime Bill Joe, you heard that all the time, and all of those magically went away. Boom, wash, rinse, repeat. Yeah, I agree, man. Especially when nurses, militaries, and cops. Yeah, you got to keep the ones that follow the order. It's getting weird because if that's hypothetically, if you wanted to weaken your enemy, you would find who the weak people are. You know, the people who stand up one by one, you can pop them off. The Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolms, the JFKs, anybody who got some heart, you can slowly pop them off. And I think COVID is slowly exposing who are the people that are still in the way. Who are the die-hard American patriots that are still standing for America? Because we're trying to speed this process up. We're trying to flip this nation, and they're standing in the way. And Trump winning the presidency caused that problem. Because you think after 8 years of Obama, you got Hillary running on with her, you got LeBron on stage. It was a cakewalk. They just assumed we were just walking into this, Hillary about to win. We get Hillary out of here for 8 years, then we're gonna put a black woman up here and get that black woman for 8 years, then we're gonna put a gay man up here, then we just keep going. And Trump was able to pull it off and to put a wrench in the whole system. So you had to come with with COVID and the lockdowns and mail-in voting. Because everyone knows, bro, Patriots showing up and Trump winning easy. So you had to come up with something to get in the way. Like I said, Democrats have always thought long term. They've always, every time Democrats took a loss, they've accepted that loss and always plotted for the next 3 to 5 years. And that's why we still got lockdowns. We still got masks. We got vaccine mandates. See, Democrats like, oh, it's still too many of y'all. We got to find a way to break y'all spirit. We got to get y'all to flip to our side. Obviously, the racism ain't working. The kids in cages ain't working. Y'all still won't believe the media. Well, let's lock you in your house. Let's make you watch TV all day and see if you become a Democrat. All right, that still won't work. Damn it. You got to get this vaccine or you won't have a job. Let's see if that works. We're gonna break your spirit somehow. And so I just say, Patriots, don't break. Just keep standing. I don't know one warrior who hasn't had a hard fight or a hard battle. I don't know one great person who wasn't hated by the masses. And so the downside is we get to look around as Patriots and we get to see who's weak and who's not. And because one by one, we may start dropping some people around us who can't take the pressure, who can't take the heat of what comes with standing tall. But all I can say as a man, don't fall down, don't bend. Right, 100%. Yeah, your family owned forced slaves. So I did my 23andMe, and it came back and said I'm 22% European. So if you were to get in trouble for owning slaves, I mean, I got white privilege. Maybe I'm in that mix too. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just too deep to try to get technical on. It's overly dumb. Like, without slavery, I'm not sitting here today as a man. Why would I complain about my existence on Earth to make a difference? Without Christopher Columbus, none of us are here at all. Without them removing the slave passage from the Declaration of Independence, there is no America. I don't understand what the whole the we want to remove the statues. What are we trying to do? Pretend it didn't happen? All right, well, if it didn't happen, then what did? What are you replacing it with? See, that's the question that no Democrat or no Black Lives Matter supporter or LGBTQ supporter, they're not asking these. If we taking all of these statues down, if we removing all of this history, well, what happened during that time? What was going on? But no one's thinking that, and that's why I'm totally against the Breonna Taylor statues, the George Floyd statues. I'm against the public twerking because you removing the Rosa Parks slowly. You never hear about Frederick Douglass. I slowly think they're gonna take Martin Luther King statues completely away because they said he cheated on his wife, so they're gonna say he was a sexist, misogynistic, blah blah blah. And you're gonna look up 50 years and you're gonna see that George Floyd statue, and he's gonna be the civil rights hero. You're gonna see that Breonna Taylor statue, and she's gonna be the civil rights black woman. And it's all falsehoods. And who the hell want to look up and say George Floyd is our role model? But if I wanted to control you mentally, oh bingo, I'm not gonna let you know that Martin Luther King used to study Ralph Waldo Emerson. I don't want you to look up Malcolm X and see he gained all his knowledge while he was sitting in jail. You can't know that, man. You got to know about George Floyd, who was high on fentanyl, and he tried to use the fake 20, and he screamed for his mama, and they still killed him. Even though he overdosed, we just gonna blame the white people and say he did it. Even though Breonna Taylor was running around with two, three, four, five different drug dealers, that it was a car that was rented in her name that they found a dead body in years earlier, so they've been tracking her. Even though all of that happened, even though the guy that was inside the apartment building with her shot first, it's still the cops' fault. So that's why it's a statue of her. See, when you erase history, see, we getting tricked thinking they're erasing taking these statues down so they can erase white history, and it's like no, they're erasing black history, boy, because all of it's tied together. We all Americans. We always all been Americans. I mean, what did it say? Over 500,000 white guys died during the Civil War. They easily could have sat back and said, "Man, that slavery shit ain't got nothing to do with us. Y'all do y'all thing." There's always been, as far as I know, a really good white and black combination. Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, John Elway and Terrell Davis. You know what I'm saying? There's always been that 1-2 punch. And so to pretend, you can even look back, there was black cowboys and white cowboys. One of my favorite movies was Indian in the Cupboard when I was a kid. I didn't think that movie was racist. It's like, you shot me. Little bear, you shot me. It's just all this race stuff. I agree, man. It started under Obama. I never thought about race when I was a kid, even in high school. I remember Kanye getting on screen and says George Bush hates black people. But even then, I didn't have no real connection to that. I didn't really understand it. I didn't get it. Like I said, we didn't have electricity in our home, so that's probably, as a kid, I thought it was a downside of not having electricity. But as an adult, I realized it was such a blessing because I didn't get brainwashed. I was sitting in the room with just me and my thoughts. Sometimes we would play. Me and my mom would get the crossword puzzle. We would play Hangman. I would get the dictionary or the thesaurus, and I would just read, just flip through the pages, and just read words, just random. What does this mean, and what is this word? And it made me always question things. So if we had electricity, I probably would have watched a lot more TV and been a lot more indoctrinated like the rest of the world. And that's why cell phones and social media are so dangerous, simply because think breaking news 24/7. You never have time to really process the story that you just got before there's another one coming right at you. And so if I can control your brain and I can get you overstimulated 24/7 with all this dopamine, you can't think. Oh yeah, I seen the Wall Street Journal about the them about to be some fat checks, man. But like Joe said, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. So you can't complain. I just everything that's happening under Joe Biden, I'm sure all of us on this stream, we can say, I told you so. It's not a shock, it's not a surprise, it's not an accident. They're showing that they dislike American citizens. I kind of think it's payback for voting for Trump. Because like I said, the Black Lives Matter stuff is kind of fading off. There's a lot of I know a lot of black people that are pissed off about how much stuff is getting going to the illegal immigrants. So they're kind of losing their base. But if you an immigrant or you not rushing the border right now, are you not trying to see how you can get a hold of a lawyer, how you can get a check? Are you not trying to, hey, how do we get a part of this? I think the push is to replace the black Americans slowly. The LGBT movement is moving more conservative as well because you can't just monopolize on someone's sexuality forever. That's kind of stupid. They start to look through it. I also agree of who wasn't sexist and misogynistic in the 50s. If you've watched the movie All the Way, it's on HBO. It's about Lyndon Baines Johnson. Man, the way he used to talk to his secretaries and to his wife, hilarious, like totally hilarious, which it wouldn't be allowed today's day at all. Is it offensive to say African American? No, I don't think so. I see. This is the thing. Most people are honestly sensitive about what you say to them. The term black or African American or I personally myself don't care. I've never really sat down and thought about what would I prefer to be called outside of Johnny. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I know a lot of black men are extremely soft. They mama's boys. They don't know their father. And so they took on their mother's identity consciously or unconsciously. You know, so the key to life is forgiving your parents. Because as men, we're not meant to be walking around super emotional. We're more logical creatures. We're here to think long term. We're here to lead and to guide. And there's no way you can lead a family when you're hyper emotional and just ready to go off and explode at any given second. Yeah, Black Lives Matter. I've seen them have a few demonstrations together, but man, you can't trust those people. And that organization, the minute they go where the money is, and right now it's profitable to throw dirt on Joe Biden's name, to throw dirt at the Democratic Party. So I don't look at anything they do as for heart or for good of people. They're all about profits. And once again, watch March of 2023 when randomly a cop shoots a black person again. Because since Joe Biden has been president, there's been no police shootings like at all. Haven't seen not one on the TV, not one protest of any of that. But the minute 2023 comes around, Black Lives Matter gonna back over to Joe Biden and say, "We here to serve you, massa." Yeah, I've never agreed with reparations either. I don't think I'm owed anything. You know, my dad always told me the only thing you deserve is the gift of life. Outside of that, you need to work for everything. But if Biden just gonna keep throwing out money, I don't personally think it should be the black people though. I say just the American citizen. We didn't have to suffer through this pandemic. We didn't have to suffer through these lockdowns. We're dealing with inflation. If you want to throw some money, throw it to the citizens. Yeah, LBJ was a different type of dude, man. He was so rude and so hey. Shout out Kyrie Irving. Yeah, I did see that rally for Kyrie Irving, man. I'm a huge Kyrie Irving fan. But the NBA is co-opted by China, so you got to see what's going on. I seen Skip Bayless posted on his Instagram today that he took his shot. I've never seen somebody in my life like my daughter just went to the doctor to get a shot. Nobody would post my daughter's getting her vax. It I've got shots before in my life. We all have. It didn't become a thing to post on the social media till now. If this shot was really about saving lives, I don't think it would be pushed the way it is. It's like all you ride down the street, you see the side of the metro, and it's pushing the shot. You turn on the radio, it's pushing the shot. It's everywhere. I do agree that Black Lives Matter was hijacked by the Democratic Party, but what hasn't been hijacked by the Democratic Party? Like I said, if you watch that movie all the way about Lyndon Baines Johnson, there's a point where it shows some Democratic members coming to Martin Luther King and showing them the bill and that the voting rights was took out of it. And Martin Luther King said, "No, I don't like this bill." And apparently, the Democrats were funding Martin Luther King. I didn't know that. And they told Martin Luther King that either you take this bill or you don't get nothing. And that's why Martin Luther King went back to his people and he said, "We got to take this civil rights bill." But it was a terrible deal. He got played with. You just got to watch the movie. I don't want to give away too many details, but the whole concept around the civil rights bill and the voting rights bill, once you watch the movie about Lyndon Baines Johnson, you realize it never was to help black people. It never was to advance civilization. It was to keep the conflict going between black people and white people and profit for the government. Yeah, I don't trust anything forced. If it was for the greater good of the people, you would have like, breast cancer screenings, or the cure for cancer. Something would be free outside of just COVID. Something new. This is too new. I mean, just think about it. It went from we don't think it's contagious from person to person. That's how it started, and then it went from what just seven. What was it? 7 days to slow the spread, or 14 days, and it kept changing and kept changing. And then you can watch 20 videos of Camilla Harris saying if the vaccine comes out under Trump, I wouldn't take it, and there's no way Trump can get a vaccine done that quick. It wouldn't be safe. And now it's the best thing in the world. Go figure. It's so much money being made across this vaccine. It just is really icky. And pharmaceutical companies, I don't think they want to save any lives. I mean, pharmaceutical companies are extremely profitable. I owned a few stocks in Pfizer, and I had noticed the right before that the first shot came out, a bunch of people had sold their stocks off. So we'll see what happens on the long term effects. I had just seen something. They said they have no clue what the long term effects are in children, and they're going to come back and research it again in 5 years. And it's like you're going to research this again in 5 years, and you trying to put it inside of kids right now. Yeah, I seen a clip when it showed like 25 different sponsored by Pfizer ads. I have a thought, and it could be wrong, but this is just my thought. I think in 10 to 15 years, unvaccinated sperm is going to be extremely, extremely profitable. I can't say that 100% that this vaccination is going to do something with human reproductions, but you've seen too many things online or women complaining about what it's doing to their bodies. We know about the male testosterone rate is really low anyway. So who knows what is really happening with this shot? But I honestly think it's going to do something long term to the human's body, and that's why they're trying to get it in children because it has something to do with trying to reproduce or trying to live long term. If we competing with China and China got a one child policy and now they're trying to loosen that policy up and they want more boys, and we already have an attack on masculinity as it is. And if you look at what's going on with young boys, there's a book called The Boy Crisis and all that stuff. Something is happening, and we're trying to find a way. I don't know if it's gonna make boys more feminine, but something is going around to slow down how many men we have in America. And the only way to slow down men is you got to slow down where men come from. You need the woman to have more babies. So that's just my thought. Maybe it sounds wild, but I personally think something is going on between the way we throwing out abortions, the way we got Plan B pills coming out like crazy, the way there's 50 different types of birth control, and now with this shot, we doing everything we can to stop humans from reproducing because y'all doing a terrible job of listening to us. So that's just my thought, but it could be wrong. It's so forced, it's so through at everybody. Like, it's hard to believe we what, 2 years into wearing masks nowadays, right? So, I mean, if we what happens next year? Are we still wearing masks? Is it still 6 feet apart? Who knows? I do think during the '24 election that something else comes up. I can't say if it's gonna be another pandemic type thing, but you gotta keep the masses scared. You gotta have hysteria always going because when people are calm, people can think. So you have to keep them stressed, tired, and overworked. Yeah, I've always thought population control was a real thing, and anytime you say that out loud, people call you a conspiracy theorist, which that's just a conspiracy theorist is like, damn, you sound kind of right, but I don't want to research it myself, so I'm gonna just throw a label at you. But when Bill Gates was on that TED talk, what was that like 10 years ago? He talked about everything that's happening now and the fact of how much he got his hands in this and how he buying all his farmland. It got connected dots and it all links together. Everything seems like this is a straight out of Brave New World or 1984. Like it's so accurate, it's scary. And I just got to be the one who speak up and say some truth out loud and share it with the world. And once again, man, I'm extremely grateful for everybody that tuned into the stream, that watched the show, that supports everything I do, man. Keep sending me videos. Keep everything will keep improving. Improving. I promise. This is like I said, we in rough draft mode, but to see how many people are loving the message and loving what I gotta say, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna find ways to spread. Like I said, we going to Cali to, and they about to give me the last stream they had. It had over 5 million views. So the fact that they about to put a person like me on TV when I could say all these things out loud. Like I said, I have no fear. I'm not scared to say anything in front of anybody. So once again, I appreciate everybody. It's 8 o'clock. I gotta go have dinner, get my kids to bed. I got basketball training tomorrow, and my kids have 2 soccer games. I coach my second grader soccer team because no one else volunteered to do it. So, with that being said, everybody, spread love, spread positive vibes. Continue to be the light in the dark world. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Share the video. Spread love, spread positive vibes. I promise I'm gonna get up in the morning and come with another reaction video. I'm not sure who as of yet, but I'm gonna think of it. Until next time, we out. Peace.